217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield, and we have a special guest. It is Tory.
Hello, Tory
Worth.
Tory Worth, yes.
Tory's got a story.
Tory like the story without the S. That's how I have to say my name usually to people. It's Tory.
It's kind of like Corey, but with a T.
Right. Exactly.
So
I could say that from now on. It's kind of like Corey without the T. My mail usually says Corey or Toby or Troy or Tony, all those things. But yeah. When somebody gets it right. Somebody just told me that a cat named Tory when I was doing a presentation the other day. I'm like, oh, that's a cool name for a cat.
You didn't ask if you love that cat or if you
No, it's just
kicked it down the road.
It's just really catching on. The name is just taking off like crazy.
I know a chick named Tory.
Yeah, well, and you have to think, Tory Hunter, Tigers, he used to be on the Tigers team. So that was kind of a good representation of Tory, because usually I get the woman Victoria, or short for Tori and stuff, Tory spelling, stuff like that. But so trying to represent the name Tory in a masculine way.
There you go. Well, I think you're doing it well today.
Thank you. Thank you. I haven't even started yet, but yes, we're looking good.
Glad you're here. You're from NMSAS. That's what you do for a living. That's not who you are.
True. Yeah, so I work at NMSAS Recovery Center. That's out of Gaylord. Been there since April of 2017, so the last 2 years. And
that's Gaylord. Is that close to Gaylord or?
It's just straight up Gaylord.
Gaylord. That's right. Yeah, people say that weird.
They do.
And they say I say it weird. I don't think I do.
No, depends on how you hesitate. When you say it. But if you just say it one Gaylord, you kind of.
Gaylord. And people say I emphasize it. Gaylord.
Right. Yeah, you could do it that way.
That's what they say. That's what I'm told. I'm like, I don't hear it. I just think I'm saying gay Lord.
Right.
But hey, there is something, because we got all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about. Yeah. We're talking about recovery coaching. We're going to talk about sober living homes. I don't know if you knew that. I knew you knew we were going to talk about one of them. But
sure.
I also want to talk about emotions and phones. It's something that you just brought up.
Oh.
But we're going to get to all that. But first, though, there's something going on. I don't even know if we want to make this public.
Okay.
What kind of cool stuff 217 is going to be a part of. Ryan and myself, we're gonna do what on Friday?
This is breaking news.
Friday and Saturday. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just I'm patting myself on the back or patting you on the back for making the connection and even inviting us to this. But it's very cool.
Nice.
We're gonna.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we have the opportunity to have recovery ambassador training coming up on Friday and Saturday. Deb Garrett, who works for Faces and Voices of Recovery, which is a national organization that kind of helps create recovery community organizations and really tries to generate people in recovery to have recovery communities that are mobilized, that really get people out there and trying to show the face and voice of recovery, obviously, hence the name. And that's been established since, I think, 2001, which the person that used to be in my position, which was Tom McHale, he was actually on the founding board of Faces and Voices of Recovery. So, and I've known Deb for quite a while. She's done some messaging training for us before. She used to work for REAL Michigan, which is Recovery, Education, Advocacy, and Leadership. And so that's it's actually part of the Detroit Recovery Project. So it's kind of another organization based off of that. And so they're the ones that are sponsoring it. They got the grant from SAMHSA, and then they're contracting with Deb to be able to host this training up here. So lots of collaboration, lots of good stuff. And we're going to learn quite a bit from Deb. The really cool thing with her, too, is that she is so exposed to what's going on nationally that we get a chance to kind of have her for 2 days and kind of find out what's going on and what fits for our region. We live in a rural area as far as recovery goes, and so we can kind of see what are the needs, what are the things that we want to do in our communities, and how do we try to make that happen. As we learn from other places and other organizations like recovery or community organizations, I mean, basically what you guys are kind of doing in a sense is kind of, like recovery community organizations, how they get started, they turn into 501c3s, and then they're made up of people that are in recovery and allies of recovery, and they try to serve a purpose. They try to remove barriers. They try to help people, that are experiencing difficulties in their area. And so I think there's a lot of things that we can gain as a result of this 2-day training. So we get a chance to hear what's going on out there in the world, and then what maybe some more things look like in our community. So I'm really excited and glad. And I think only 30 people are going to be able to come, but I think I've already heard that I asked if they would keep the registration to 40 because we're going to lose a few people as you normally do with kind of tough training. So we're going to, I think, have at least 30 to 40 people that will be in attendance from all over the region. So really looking forward to it. I know.
It'd be nice to meet other people that, are wanting to do the same kind of things, like get out in the community and just make it grow. Like you said, I've met a lady today, matter of fact, in Charlevoix, and she came to me. She was a member of Al-Anon, and her brother had passed away. He overdosed on fentanyl, and he was 60. So it just goes to show you right there, it doesn't discriminate. Addiction is addiction, and a bad day, a bad time, a bad choice can lead to death. And she was saying that she wanted to, and I wasn't sure, and I had to talk to her after the meeting, and I gave her Joyce's info just about, she said that she wanted to start a house. And I was like, I know some people you could talk to, because I know some people that, are doing some good things. And it's people like that we're going to meet there. But she wants to get involved, and she's just thought, hey, I'll go to a meeting, maybe someone will be there that I can talk to. And it just so happened that in my kind of busy but not busy day, I ended up there, and I know people that can point her in the right direction, and because she's like, I want to do something in my brother's name, I want to start a house. And I asked her, like a sober living house, she's like, no, like this. I'm like, oh, you want to start a meeting, like an NA meeting? Like, what do you? I was like, here. I was like, I know some people. If you, because she was like, he has a house, I want to donate it, this and that. And I was like, well, I clearly know somebody, that.
Can you give her my card?
Yeah, I know, right? I should have been like, hey, 217, we're looking for a studio.
We could, a house.
Yeah, it'll be our house studio.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but it's meeting people like that, and meeting you, and it's staying in contact, and you're real with it, I'm real with it, and you meet people along the way that maybe they're not, but they kind of weed themselves out. But the people that truly want it and want to make a difference, and people have reached out to me, hey, I want to do something for you, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, well, right now, just keep spreading the word, man. Say good things, and if you have something to say, let me know. We can get together, and I do a podcast with anybody. We don't have advertisers. We have to worry, oh no, he said this or he said that. We try not to swear, but at the end of the day, we can, as long as I have the time. And that's why, when this does become something a little bit bigger, and I can afford to spend all the time on it, I'll go anywhere. Right. We can do it all day long. It's our website. It's our thing, and it helps. And I want to make that kind of transition to have other people out there doing the same thing, and people in recovery, and that way they don't have to worry about an application going, I did this and I have that. And not everybody has stuff on their record, but if they do, we're not going to look down on them. We look like, hey, I think when I was at that one treatment place, there was a guy there saying, it's almost like that's better for your resume.
We actually tell that people for our Recovery Coach Academy. It's like, hey, if you have a we do background checks, but if you have a record, sometimes that can actually help you as you're going to help other people, because who not better to help somebody that kind of knows those resources and knows the system and can give valuable insight on how to navigate sometimes those things, because they can be challenging. Sometimes people don't always know what's available to them. So I think that's a good, that can be a good thing for folks to have that background and helping people navigate through some of that stuff. You were talking about, recovery is so important to be able to get out there in their community. And there are a lot of folks that are really doing a good job of pushing that out there. And you guys, I think, are doing a valuable service. Part of the Recovery Ambassador training is also going to touch on messaging and how important it is and how we talk about a recovery in the community. Because a lot of times for some of us going, kind of being part of our certain fellowships, we have this tendency to have certain messaging that's kind of part of that culture. If I say I'm Tory, I'm an addict and alcoholic, in the community doesn't know exactly what that means. They might still think I'm drinking or that I might be using. And so we have to be kind of careful as we talk about our recovery and how we can best articulate that to people so that way they know what we're talking about. And so Faces and Voices developed a messaging training that's going to be incorporated into this Recovery Ambassador training that will kind of help people with messaging. And so actually we've budgeted for next year to offer 3 messaging trainings for Gaylord, for Alpena, and for Traverse City next year. So I'm going to go out into those communities and we'll offer a 6-hour messaging training for people in recovery and families of people who have folks who have either struggled with addiction or maybe they're passionate, they have a loved one who has died, and they want to really empower other people with their story. So we try to focus less on the less on the addiction and more on the recovery, the hope. Because we can easily turn the paper and the news station to the details of the symptoms of addiction. We see that all the time. But we really need to empower people and tell people that there's hope, give them hope. So that's where we want to come from, is a place of hope. Not so much focusing on the whole, what happened, more on what's happening now and how we're making a difference today. So trying to give that recovery louder than the whole, the symptoms of addiction, part of it. So, I think it'll be pretty good for everybody. Kind of be able to take that training, So Deb Garrett did that for us a while ago, and so I think that we're going to take that training and try to expand it more into Northern Michigan. So. Are
you going to be able to get me some alone time with Deb?
Oh, well, maybe.
For the podcast. I'm not, come on.
That's a trap to fall in. So, I don't know, maybe. I'll have to talk to her.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
She's around.
I know that she's got to leave right on Saturday, but I could find out. I can see if maybe there'd be a little bit of time to
because she's staying in town, probably at a hotel, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can kind of go up to her room later.
Ooh, I don't know. She's a busy lady, but we can see what we can do.
I'll bring some chocolate.
Jeez, she's not even going to come now, Corey.
Well, I'll change that. We're having fun, aren't we? Hi, Deb. Hope you're listening.
This is taking a turn.
Hey, it's in your mind, bro. I'm just saying good stuff about. I wanted to meet Deb and do a podcast with her.
Awesome. We'll see what we can do.
Everybody loves chocolate.
Chocolate. You can always bring it. I was going to say you can bring it to my room. But you know what? We'll leave the boundaries.
All right, let's calm down. Let's get back on track, Tory. I'm not sure why you took it off the tracks that. But if you see, I professionally wrote on the board. We're at the Petoskey Library, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I professionally scribbled on the board 217 recovery and then my agenda underneath it. So since I did that, we should probably follow it as we're...
That is an easel board, right? That's not the wall. You didn't just tag 217 on the library wall, did you?
It's a big, dry erase board, but it's in this cabinet. I had to open it up to make it look all official, and underneath I have two things we're going to talk about.
All right.
And we're finally getting to it 13 minutes into the
Let's
interview here. So number one, recovery coach.
Yes.
What is a recovery coach, Tory?
What is a recovery coach?
For someone who doesn't know.
Sure. So this is where I really need to work on my elevator speech, but trying to give specific response to what is a recovery coach. Somebody that empowers somebody else in their recovery, somebody who also promotes recovery, shares resources, and walks with somebody in recovery. It's a very strength-based service, and that we have recovery coaches are throughout Northern Michigan and actually throughout the country right now. It's really taken off. We used to have to really explain what recovery coaches are to people when we do presentations, and a lot of times now people know what recovery coaches are. They've seen them or they've heard about them, so it's getting a heck of a lot more notoriety now than it really ever has been before. So. And I can talk a little bit about, what the Recovery Coach Academy involves to become a recovery coach, because it really stems from the training as to what, what kind of services a recovery coach can provide. So, you want me to go ahead and talk about the training a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, what is a recovery coach, and who can be one? Why would someone be one?
Yeah.
Yes. So why would somebody want to become a recovery coach? So Corey and I were talking a little bit before we started, but it started with, in Northern Michigan, it started with a group of people who were looking at, what are some of the barriers that people are facing when, like in Northern Michigan, where it's rural, a lot of the folks are going to treatment, but they're going back to communities that sometimes don't always have a lot of resources, or maybe the person goes back into a community and they don't have a lot of family or support for the recovery. So they really wanted to find a program that they could incorporate to be able to get people connected to somebody in recovery in their communities. I mean, we have people that call that are living in tents, that they're getting out of treatments, they don't have any places to go. They call from their counselor's office and they're homeless. We have some folks who they live by themselves and they just don't really have a whole lot of people to connect with, and so they looked at the Recovery Coach seat card